Hello there, Braden Smith here from Learn to Play the Fiddle. In this lesson I want to take you through a really fun polka called Riding on a Bale of Hay. This is a really great tune to play, a lot of fun, and there's a couple of good reasons for learning it and practicing it as well, bits of technique that we can get into. But first of all, let's hear the tune all the way through. So here it is. So there's the whole tune played through twice, and next we'll just go through the melody nice and slow so that you can work out the notes. A couple of things to say before we do. There are a couple of D sharps in this tune, one of the reasons why I think it's a good tune to learn. So D sharps on the A string, played with the third finger, but played with the third finger extended. So rather than playing our normal D here, with the third finger next to the second finger, we're just going to extend that third finger slightly further out. I'll just show you that up close before we get into the melody. So rather than playing our normal D with the third finger next to the second finger there, we're just going to extend that third finger a little bit higher up. And otherwise we're not going to change anything at all. So you'll notice a couple of those notes in here when we get into the tune. They just happen from time to time, and the important thing is to try and get them nice and sharp, get them in tune, but then make sure that you're coming back to your normal position for your normal third finger D. We'll get into all that in a second. Let's just go through the melody nice and slowly to start off with, and see if you can work it out. So here's the A part, nice and slow. The first phrase. Let's go through one more time. Just practice that until you've got it. And then the second phrase in the A part. And there, just towards the end, is that D sharp. So I'll play that second phrase one more time. Just extending that third finger to get that D sharp. So I'll play you those two phrases together. Obviously you can pause and go back and work them out. If you already reckon you're getting there, then play along. So that's the A part. Let's just have a look at that close up, just in case there's any notes you haven't been able to work out so far. So from the beginning of the A part. And you play all of that again, repeating the A part. So that's the whole A part. If you haven't got all those notes yet, don't worry, you can always pause, go back and work all that out. And once you're happy with that, we can move on to the B part. So here's the B part. So starting now, rather than on that low E, where we started the first part, We're going to start on the high E. That's our first phrase. So playing that one more time and then I'll carry on. That's our first phrase. Let's go through it one more time. So from there, you're going to have to jump from that D string where you've ended, that open D, all the way back up to the E string, and you haven't got much time to do this. So I'm just going to show you what I mean. And then we're back into the beginning of the same phrase. And then a different ending. So that second time round goes. And again, that's a D sharp in there. D sharp. Let's have a look at the whole B part so far. From the beginning of the B part up close, nice and slow. So one more time, just in case you haven't got that. So paying attention to that jump back to the E string and that D sharp. So great. So that's the whole of the first half of the B part sorted out, and the second half is similar with a bit of a different ending. So we go back to the first phrase again. This time going all the way down to the low B, just that one extra note at the end. That's the only difference from the first phrase of the B part. So just make sure that you're getting that last note in time. And then we've got one final phrase to learn in this B part, and this is probably my favourite part of the tune, kind of makes the whole thing for me, is this last phrase in the B part, which is a variation really on the A part, but with just a little bit more fun going on. So the last phrase in the B part. We've got these little triplets, little fast runs in here. And this phrase for me really makes the tune. So just really practice this. You've got a little bit of string crossing in here as well, just to make it a little bit more tricky. Really recommend you trying to keep your third finger down here if you can. So I'll show you what I mean. So coming up, bring the second and third down together. Coming up to the A string, but if you can keep those two fingers down without fouling the A string, then do that, because it's going to really help. One more time. And just have one more look at that. So really practice that little bit, and then the ending is much the same as we learned in the A part. So that whole phrase. And as it gets faster, you're really going to want to keep those second and third fingers down. So work on keeping those fingers down. It will make that whole phrase much easier. Great, so let's just play the whole B part through slowly, and if you reckon you're starting to work it out, then play along. If not, go back and work on the phrases individually. So here's the whole B part nice and slowly. Great, so if you've worked out all the sections of the melody there, then well done. If not, go back over them, have a check that you've got all the notes in the right order, and when you have, play the whole tune round a few times, make sure you're getting it confident under your fingers. And then there's a couple of things that we can work on here. The first is that this is a tune that kind of wants to go along at a good clip. It's fun to play it a little bit quick. So, and there's only really a few phrases that you've got to really work on to get that speed going. So I'd particularly look at the section towards the end of the B part, and make sure you've got that really comfortable under your fingers, and then you can gradually build up the pace of the whole tune. The other thing that we can do here is we can put in some unison chords and even some slides into unison chords, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is at the end of the A part. Just like that. So what we can do here is we can play that D sharp that we've been talking about with the extended third finger, and then just slide that up to an E. It's a tiny little slide, and then we can, once you've got that sorted, you can put the E string over the top as well. So just to play that one more time, then I'll show you up close. So I'm playing the E, the open E string, and also that E played with the third finger, and all I've done is just slide that up from the D string, from the A string. Just sliding the whole hand forward a tiny bit. I'll just show you what that looks like up close. So that phrase. And as long as you can still play the open E, you can play them both together. The nice thing about this is that if you get them absolutely bang in tune, great, fantastic. If they're a tiny bit off, that also sounds kind of okay. You don't want them to be too far off, you want to aim for in tune. But if you find that you're just a tiny bit flat or a tiny bit sharp on that slide, what you'll get is just a slightly sort of gritty bit of discord, and that can sound kind of fun. I wouldn't do it all the time, by the way. Just maybe choose, like, do it once around the A part. You can do it in the B part too. There's the same kind of phrase, but don't do it every time because it will get a bit samey. But it's a really fun thing to practice, and it's good for practicing your tuning and those little slides and things as well. So I hope you have a lot of fun with that. That's riding on the Bale of Hay, and yeah, give it a go. All right, take care now. Bye bye.